perfect. Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfect. How
Oh,
about
wonderful. Yes, perfect. So exciting. I had everyone worried I was going to have you just have a demonstration of me drinking it and them just being jealous. So it's so nice to meet you. I'm so excited. I'm like, I'm so excited. And it's so funny because near the end, I think, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but of the cider chat, when Bethany came on and she's like, because I love dry cider and cranberries, like, was my favorite. And I used to love the pommies, but they don't make it anymore. And the other ones are so sweet. And Bethany's like, oh, try this cider. Here we go. Try this one. And my husband was nearby and he was like writing down all the ones that I might like. And so immediately, so I am so excited to meet with you and to hear about you and have a tour, and it's wonderful. So tell me how
absolutely.
did, yeah.
Thanks for having me. I mean, it's been exciting following you and all of your journey here recently as well. I'm thrilled to have found you as well. So thank you. And thank you to Bethany as well for connecting us. I know they popped into our shop. They apparently tried a little bit earlier when, we weren't quite ready or we were just opening, but they came back in December and popped in and we got to meet them. And um, Sterling, the cider corgi as well, came for a
Yes.
visit, which was great. And they've done, they've posted some fantastic reviews of our product as well. So we really appreciate all the support for sure.
Well, it's definitely well deserved. So, I mean, absolutely, it's delicious. If you love dry cider, everybody, it's just and the cranberry is just my favorite because sometimes they're so syrupy, they're so cloyingly sweet. But this was wonderful. So, how did this come about? How long have you been? I know Rice Lake's only been around since what, October? October?
Last July, July 5th
Oh,
is
July.
when
Oh,
coming.
okay,
Yes.
okay. And so, how was this baby born? I guess.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. We could have opened probably about 3 years ago, had it not been for planning and delays and trying to find the right spot. So I guess where it really all started was I met my now partner, who was in the process 8 years ago when we met, opening a brewery. And I thought, well, this is great. He's fantastic, but I don't drink beer, so I'm not really sure how this is going to go. So I tried to start liking beer. It just never worked. I did eventually, once he started brewing his beer, actually there was a few that I did start to enjoy, but it was still a limited selection. But in the process, that 6 months of him opening the brewery and not having any beer, I was out there trying every beer I could, just trying to find something that at least I can say, okay, I can drink beer. And I did find a couple that we can't get here anymore, but they're Belgian. Mortsabeet was the brand, and they were cherry and raspberry beers, really well made. Of course, they're gone now. But I thought those are fantastic. So he goes, the brewery carries on, and I'm like, okay, can you make a fruit beer? No, there's no fruit in beer. He's German trained. He's a German brewmaster. There is no fruit in beer. There's only four ingredients. So I'm like, well, this isn't working out so well. So we got to thinking, okay, what are we going to do here? Because you have all the beer in the world you can drink, and what am I drinking? So we started. He said, well, let's try making cider. And I had never really, I mean, I had ciders, but I had never really thought of making anything myself.
Okay.
So one Christmas, actually, it was over the Christmas break, and I started getting my hands on every book and every video and everything I could find. I think I went out actually on Boxing Day and took my little toboggan and started trying to find apples that were frozen on trees, thinking that would be a good idea. Not a good idea.
Oh my gosh.
So I kind of went from there. We found, figured out what type of juice or, sweet cider we should probably be, starting with as a starting point, experimented with some different things, some different um, other fruit juices, natural, 100% pure juices we tried to blend. Cranberry was one of them, was one of the favorites right off the bat.
Mhm.
And it's kind of took off from there. He has, long since sold the brewery and carried on. He's an engineer, so he's gone back to his engineering roots for a while. Um, and I was working in the corporate world. So really, the plan was launch the cider, just do a really small, 8, 10 places around Rice Lake, just kind of build the brand for a couple of years, add on beer down the road, etc. Well, I continued to work for a couple, 3 years just to, kind of get things going. It was gonna be more of a really just a small part-time thing. And so we were supposed to launch with restaurants and licensees. There was no retail store in the plan. It was just literally licensees, eventually into grocery. And we were supposed to launch last March with restaurants. So that didn't quite work out so well. So we said, well, wait a minute, don't put anything in cans. We were ready to go. We said, well, we just better kind of hold on here and see what's going to happen. And through what's happened with different changes, we were able to open a retail store, which has been fantastic. So we, as I was saying, July 5th was our first day of sale. I'd taken, I typically take that week off for my fishing vacation. So had taken the week off to, kind of figure out what we're going to do at the cidery. And actually on July 2nd, I got notice that I would soon be restructured. So it was like, all right, we're opening in 3 days. That's going to be our first day to sell cider, and we better make a go of it.
Yeah.
So I ended up working into October, and then transitioned, which is October 1. So here we are, full-time cider all the time.
Okay, so you just started experimenting with how to make cider. You said on Boxing Day of last year, and
No. Sorry, about 6-7 years ago.
Oh, okay, because here I
Yeah.
am going, okay, and now what have I done in here besides find your cider? So, that's amazing. But so this kind of grew out of the fact that you wanted something to drink with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really where it started. And then
Okay.
I just enjoyed making it. And we started researching, because he'd been through and I had been through the, kind of shadowed the brewery opening process and all those trials and tribulations and successes. And we thought, well, what's involved in opening a cidery? And it's, I think in some ways, way more complicated. But we thought, maybe we should put some thought around this. And then, we started sharing our cider and people really enjoyed it. So we thought, well, this is maybe something that we could do as a longer term retirement type plan.
Wow. So what is involved in opening a cidery? That's all intrigued.
Yeah. Well, we spent probably a good 2 years trying to find the perfect location.
Yeah.
I really wanted to be on Rice Lake.
Okay.
That was kind of, my goal. We're off the lake right now. I still say in a year or two we'll have a second spot on the water. That's kind of my ultimate vision. But we really tried hard to find that perfect spot. So in the meantime, we're collecting equipment. So again, my partner Graham, he's an engineer. He can take anything and turn it into a fantastic piece of working equipment, and he knows what he's looking for. So as months would go by, we'd see things on Kijiji or on other brewery websites, and he'd think, oh, we need this, we need that. So we ended up renting a storage unit here in Baltimore where we are today. It was a smaller unit, but it was just like, put all the equipment in, let's put it away. We know we're going to need it. And then we had almost signed a lease on a spot. It just didn't quite work out. So we're just sitting there racking our brains. And about a month later, a spot in the same complex, which was a CrossFit gym. It's a big 3-bay garage building. So it's about 1,800 square feet. It came up, the CrossFit folks were moving to a different location. And we said, you know what, it's perfect. It's got most of what we need. It's on, a major artery. Let's just start somewhere. We could wait another 2 or 3 years trying to find the perfect spot and still be no further ahead. Let's just try and make a go of it. So that was, that'll be 3 years ago in July, actually. We've been in this building 3 years in July. So we were in the building for 2 full years. So you ask what's involved in opening a cidery. There's a whole process with excise. So your federal licensing to be allowed to make the cider. And then once you get through that process, if you want to sell in Ontario, then there's a whole process with provincial licensing to be able to sell it in Ontario, and how you can sell it in Ontario. So between those two processes and building our own canning line, that did not come quickly. It's been totally worth it. But that certainly took a bit of time as well. So between those 3 things, 2 years later, there we were ready to start selling cider in the middle of a pandemic. So.
Now, are you from Rice Lake? Is that why you wanted to open up there?
Yes, it's a pretty cool story. So I've actually had a 3-season spot up on the north shore of Rice Lake. So Rice Lake, and I don't know where everybody's from and where they're watching, but Rice Lake's about 90 minutes east-northeast of Toronto. Our cidery is just off the 401, kind of at the very east end of the lake, so north of Cobourg, so between Cobourg and the lake. Okay. So I've had a 3-season spot on the other end of the lake on the north side up by Keene, for anyone who knows the area, for going on 17 summers now. Fantastic spot. If I could live at the lake, for the last 16 years I would have. This summer I'm actually going to get to do that, which I'm very excited about. But anyway, so fast forward to meeting Graham and bringing him up the first time, and you never know how these things are going to go. It's like, is he going to like the spot? Is he going to think, I don't know about this. So we go in there Easter weekend, and he looks out, and we're actually right on the water on the bay, and he looks across the bay and he says, "You see that cottage over there?" He goes, "I grew up water skiing. That was my buddy's uncle's place. I grew up water skiing in high school, right there." And you could literally point to you could see the cottage. I'm like, okay, so you get the whole concept. So yeah, there was just a huge decades-long connection to Rice Lake that we couldn't get away from.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing. Wow, what a
yeah.
wonderful.
And the hook. I actually learned to fish on Rice Lake my very first summer up there. I had some great folks where I'm at that said, if you're going to be on Rice Lake, you got to learn to fish. And I'm like, yeah, I'm game. So they sent me a shopping list to go to Canadian Tire. Here's all the stuff that you need, a fishing rod and this and that. So I came back and I spent 4 weeks in a canoe going back and forth across the bay trying to catch fish. Finally did, and I was hooked. So it is a great fishing lake. Once you know what you're doing, it is a fantastic fishing lake.
Well, and that's your slogan, right? Hooked on Lake Life?
Hooked on Lake Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Wow. Okay. It just sounds like all the stars aligned for you then.
They really have. Yeah. I think, at each stage, certainly going through it hasn't seemed, as simple and smooth as I'm probably making it sound right now. There's been, obviously hurdles and setbacks, but definitely it really feels like we're in the right spot right now.
Yeah. Well, I believe everything happens for a reason. So, with all the hurdles and everything else that comes towards you in life to get you back to this point, I think it's all worth it. So that's interesting. Now you do you get your cider from Algoma, is that right?
Correct. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're very fortunate to have just 30 minutes away Algoma Orchards that presses fresh juice each week.
Okay.
So we have instant access any week of the year that we when it's every time we're ready to start a new batch, which right now is every couple of weeks, the way things are going. So yeah, they're 30 minutes down the road. They're fantastic partners. They're actually an amazing facility. Very sterile pressing facility, which is reassuring.
It's so important. Now, is there a certain kind of apples or a combination of them that you like for your ciders?
Yeah, so they're pressing basically a blend of primarily table apples, culinary apples. They're blending to a specific flavor profile, but the acids and the sugar can be different from batch to batch. I've even picked up batches 2 days apart, and they're different. So they're really targeting the initial flavor profile. We get to work with the back end and do the blending and the balancing.
So how do you take that fresh cider and turn it into what I love in my cans here?
And speaking of, I'm going to crack one right now because I'm getting a bit
thirsty. Which one? I know. I'm like, which one did you have? Did you have the cranberry?
The cranberry.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy them both, but I would say I reach for the cranberry more often.
Yeah, I'm a cranberry. And look, I have my glass too. My hooked on.
Very nice.
Yeah. Now I got to show everyone how beautiful this is. I mean, it's just like, look at that color, everyone. Like, that's just gorgeous. It's gorgeous. I love the bubbles. I love the smell. I love the little bit of froth at the top. It's just like such a beautiful, beautiful pour. So cheers to you, my dear.
Cheers. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. It's so good. I love tart. I love your ciders don't have that. They don't have any aftertaste on the back. It's just like I said on the weekend. It explodes. There's like happiness and there's like a calmness about your ciders that make you want more because and this is like alcohol aside, but it makes you feel good drinking it. It's like a little bit of more of a euphoric feel. You don't feel like you're being weighed down by anything. It doesn't feel like I don't feel like I need to go brush my teeth afterwards. It just just dances on the palate, and the cranberry comes a little bit more in the back of the throat for me a really nice way. And I love the dryness. It's just so lovely. But I have a question. I have lots of questions. The alcohol level. 6.2, yeah, the 6.2, it's dangerous for these little cans. So is
Well, and
there,
that's exactly why, yeah, that's exactly why we went with the small can. I
okay.
thought, there are ciders out there, you can find them at the LCBO that are 6% and in tall, the 500 mil or 473 mil. I'm not sure if they're watching tonight, but my little pub in town, I always tell this story. I can walk to the little pub in town, and if I have two, I'm good. And if I ask for a third one, they're like, "Oh, here we go." Right? So, I just want something I can enjoy three of, and still
Yeah.
be, not having people question. I can still walk home and still be good. So that's why we went with the small can.
Yep.
Other people better than me can tolerate three of the taller ones, but not me.
No, no, no. I know. I like the size too because it's like, okay, I can have it and then I can still walk my puppy and I can, make sure that he's on the sidewalk and we're not
Yeah.
in the street, right? Happy National Puppy Day too. I saw your
Yes.
post. Yes, I have
Thank
to go
you.
to shout out to that one. Okay, so that makes total sense because at 6.2% at 355 mil, then I can just imagine the dancing that would happen in a 473. Um, is there now, because you mentioned LCBO, I know I was fortunate enough to order online. Mostly,
Mhm.
what are you branching out into that now? Like, is the website sort of able to do that yet, or almost?
Yes, our original plan, again, before and then kind of changed last year, was to be in select licensees and then, within a year move into grocery. That was kind of our next plan. There's a lot of flexibility from a format perspective at grocery.
Right.
Um, and because we aren't doing the traditional tall boys that the LCBO really loves, we really had kind of put that on the back burner. If we ever got there, that's nice, but it wasn't a priority. Obviously, that all got flipped on its head. So we last year launched just our store. We had one amazing licensee we worked with because they had listened to me talk about my ciders coming for at least 2 years. So it's okay, you're going to get my ciders. But we knew that we didn't have any idea on capacity or volumes, what was going to happen once we had a store. So we said,
Right.
we'll just deal with the store. And we were in and out of stock most of the year last year, realistically. So I'm glad that we didn't, go out to licensees and then, stock out for them.
Yeah.
Um, so this year we are, we've increased some capacity. We've started making, additional batches, and got larger tanks as well. So this year we are confident we can have a retail store as well as licensees. Grocery would still be the third plan down the road.
Okay.
And then LCBO at some point we might have that conversation, but um, the multi-pack format works really well for us. And again, that's just not something the LCBO likes, that single tall can.
Yes.
So do I want to have to convince one customer to buy, 6 cans or 6 can, customers buy 1 can. The multi-pack just makes a lot of sense for us and we have zero issues selling a multi-pack. Even at farmers markets where this summer we weren't able to sample, people were still, they'd buy a mix pack of 6 and go and try it. They really weren't concerned. I saw, very few requests just to buy a single can. So it's
Well,
it's not that hard.
and that's interesting too because I know that you can because what you just said, the mix pack, you can get a 6 pack of and 3 is cranberry and 3 are apple, and that's a big deal. I mean, that's a to me that's a game changer because what if I don't like the other kind, or what if I just want a couple to bring home, right?
Yeah.
And to be forced to have to pick for one flavor. But the companies, the cideries that are doing that, kudos to you. You're really listening to what the clients and the customers want. And but you're right. I made that mistake a few weeks ago, and I went into the LCBO and for a taste testing, and I bought um, 6 Granny Smith cider that I have 5 that I don't know what to do with, and I wouldn't do that to try one. I would just buy a single and see how I feel. But um, you know, I, how at the farmers market without people being able to test it, how did that go? I mean, is it word
Honestly,
of mouth?
fantastically. It was just it was an awesome response. Once we're able to talk about what the cider, tastes like and what, where it is on the scale from sweet to dry, and they compare it to, help them understand, ask them what do they typically drink, right? So if they tell me there's a strongbow cider, it's okay, well, between Summers being strongbow, definitely, those are kind of the two people kind of know, commercially. The ones that were on the strongbow side I said, well, it's still gonna be drier than strongbow. I said, but it's got more flavor, etc. So a lot of people were just willing just to give it a shot. People want to support local, which is fantastic. They want a locally produced cider. We're kind of in a pocket right where we are for now. I'm sure it's not going to last very long. I know a couple of folks I've talked to are looking at opening more cideries, which is great. We need more. But we're kind of in a pocket under our own right now in terms of geographically for quite a few kilometers. So it's refreshing. Folks are excited to see a new, a cidery popping up in the area.
Nice. Any other ideas for getting new flavors? Like,
Yeah.
yes? Not yet? Did you say not yet?
No, I did. No, there is one coming, hopefully this summer.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be in your realm. Let's put it that way.
Oh, I think I know what it's going to be. Oh, okay. In the summer, like in the
Stay
summer,
tuned.
oh,
June, July, if I get my way, I would hope.
oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for now, though, can we order online, or do we just make the drive to visit you? Because I think you'd be really fun to hang out with. Well, you are this way, so I can just imagine. I mean, I'm imagining that this is why I asked about the farmers market, but your passion comes out so clear, and your love and enthusiasm. I think not only for the cider, but your community. And yeah, someone just said that your logo totally makes sense now.
Mm.
First I'm looking at it going, okay, well, I'm just going to try the cider, but now you can see what this means. And this is, um, you can, even on the can, I can see like it's your heart, it's your passion, it's your foundation and what you grew up on, the environment that you live on. It's like all encompassing. So I can just imagine how infectious that would have been throughout the farmers markets. But so if we all now that we're all going to make a road trip over there, and so that would be the best way to get it or
Yeah, we are set up on the website automatically to ship. Certainly people can reach out to us and we'll figure out shipping. With our price point, we're not like some cideries that are selling, a case. It's going to cost you $80 to $100. So, $15 in shipping really doesn't make a difference. We're selling a 6-pack for 19. So $15 on a $19 it doesn't make a ton of sense in most areas. So that's what we kind of struggle with, is how do we make that make sense for people? But we've had folks, who come to the lake, traditionally every summer, reach out to us, say, hey, I really want to try your cider. We can't get there this year, obviously, for obvious reasons. What can we do? And we've made it work. We've shipped stuff out. We also have some great merchandise online as well. So sometimes folks will just tag on with some of that. It helps out, makes the shipping make a little more sense.
sure.
But we're working on solutions for that.
Any chance you'd come to a farmers market near me? I'm just
Definitely
saying.
not.
Yeah,
Definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, are you gonna show us around? I want to see where the magic happens,
For sure.
and then we'll see if you can walk a straight line. I'm not sure if that's number
Yeah.
3.
I wanted to slowly because I've been told that when I walk and talk with the phone, I tend to make people dizzy. So we're gonna try. Turn this around.
Yeah, she did warn me, so I'll let you know if I'm getting a little bit nauseous.
All right. So we do have a fairly small store. So when folks come in, basically it's limited to one person at a time.
Okay.
Or if you came in the same carload, I mean, that makes sense, but just with the COVID restrictions and that right now. So this is our store. We're only about 100 square feet of store. So,
Okay.
and we have the requisite plexiglass shield and all that good stuff. And then our cider. And this is pretty much what our farmers market setup was as well. This dock theme is really what we went with for the farmers markets.
Oh, I like the hoodie. Is that a hoodie, the turquoise one? I'm shopping online here.
These have actually, after cider, have to be our most popular item. These are actually what I call campfire hoodies.
Yeah.
So they have a pouch to hold your drink, as well as a built-in bottle and can opener.
Are you kidding me? You have a
And the
pouch
pouch,
to hold my.
yeah, and it's lined, so you won't, when your can sweats, you don't get wet.
Oh my
Isn't that
God.
brilliant?
Are you kidding? That is brilliant. That is, oh wow. Are you kidding? And a
Yeah,
built-in bottle,
that's what I'm wearing today. Yeah,
that
we
is,
are.
that is brilliant. That is,
Thank
wow.
you. All right.
I have a friend in New Zealand, and I think she's watching this, and I think she calls it tramping. We call it hiking. And now she's going to say, well, the weather here is beautiful, but eventually it'll get a little bit cold. And that's what she needs. That is gorgeous. That is the perfect thing. It's lined with a can. I mean,
They're
wow.
great for doggy
Wow.
bags. They hold doggy bags as well. So if you're not drinking cider, they're great for doggy bags.
Okay. So obviously I'm ordering one of these. If anyone hasn't seen that sweater, it's a campfire, what did you call it? There. And it's
Campfire
got
hoodie.
a campfire
Yeah.
hoodie with a can holder inside it and place for my doggy bags and a bottle opener. And it comes in those three colors.
Those three colors for now. Yep.
Okay, and wow, those are beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, and I see I like more than just your ciders. That's fantastic. I love that. That's such a good idea. Such a good idea.
Perfect.
Okay,
All
wow.
right, so let's go on to the cidery.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
And
Wait,
so
so what?
we're pretty small setup. Let me just try and get through here. There we are.
Yeah.
Pretty small setup, realistically. So this is one of the totes. So we ferment in stainless steel totes. So they're very similar to the plastic IBC totes that a lot of cideries, wineries use. We were just fortunate enough to find stainless steel ones. They're a little bit larger, about 1,325 liters. So we're allowed to get, we're able to get a little bit larger batches than the standard 1,000. That's really helped with our production. So we've got
Nice.
got a series of those. And we actually have the canning line just set up to start canning some cranberry. So you'll see this kind of set up here. So there's a full batch of cranberry ready to go in cans.
I'm drooling.
And again,
So it's
we're not a big fancy setup. We've just again partner Graham has built most of this himself. So we have our can rinser, we have our in-house built canning line. You can kind of see a couple cans there. It's not plugged in right now. It's not running, but it just kind of gives you the idea. Our seamer, so we seam manually still. Although there are plans to automate that and put a couple more seamers in line.
okay.
And then we'll stock and rinse here on the table at the end. So we have two canning tanks, canning / traditionally called bottling tanks. These
Okay.
are these guys. They neither one holds a complete batch, and what we've been doing up until now is basically half batching. So every batch comes out and is more or less half original, half cranberry. That's really helped keep the inventory in line, so we can flex up and down with that though, as
Nice.
needed. Oh, there's my cleaning fan. So I do all the cleaning as well here. And this is, I was mentioning bigger tanks. So we actually have two of these bag girls. One's still outside waiting to come in because they're actually taller than our doors. So bringing one in was quite the challenge. The second one should go smoother, but it's not here yet. So this, for context, our tanks right now, we're working around 1,200 liter batches. This will hold 5,000 plus. So four times the batch size.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
And that's pretty much it. A lot of stuff in storage here.
that's so
Extra
cool.
things. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say you said we're not pretty fancy, and I'm gonna tell you it doesn't matter what the fancy setup looks like if when I pour it in my glass it goes in a mason jar. So that's not what
Right.
matters, right? Like I mean it's interesting because I when I tasted your cider too, you can taste it. You can taste passion and love and honesty and simplicity in a good way. Like I'm gonna say there's no unnecessary frills or unpleasant aromas, things like that some ciders try to find. There's no bells and whistles needed because the bells and whistles are in the actual cider. Do you know what I mean? There's no need for anything extra, and so I think it's so reflective of you and your environment and your passion, and it's just like honest and pure, and it's fabulous, like really really nice cider. And I'm gonna have to order a hoodie because that I you just blew my mind with that. I mean, and it's just perfect. That's so nice, so nice.
All the merchandise really just reflects me and what I think of the lake. So we've really tried to keep it on theme and just on topic. There's lots of other stuff I'm sure we could have in here, but it's all things, to do with the lake, like the ponytail hats for the ladies last summer were a big hit on the water, and some lake decor and things like that. Just things that to me say this is Rice Lake. That's just kind of, and we do all the design decorating in house as well. So yeah, it's just what I come up with and what I create. So
But that's what I was saying, because your passion is so obvious. Your love for your community and for your area and for what you do, it's just so evident. Oh, there's a question here.
yeah,
Does your partner, does Graham, does he drink cider now, or
he
is he
does.
still a beer snob?
Yeah, no, well, he still loves his beer, but he does drink cider, and he's actually, I think every batch, he's more and more surprised with how much he enjoys it. He's really become a cider drinker, so that's great. And believe me, he had lots to do with it in the very beginning, with teaching me lots about fermentation and things like that. So I think it's really been a collaboration for sure. But yeah, he's pretty proud of what we've come up with.
Absolutely. Oh, that's fabulous. Fabulous. So with the fermentation, so you would add the yeast and everything else that you would need to the cider. Yeah, wonderful. And the cranberry, how do you get that in? Is it juice,
So we're
the
using
fruit?
it's pressed Ontario cranberry juice.
Okay.
So pretty much all the cranberries from Ontario come out of Bala area. So they're all coming from Bala. We get them pressed, just like we do the juice, and we add them post fermentation. When I was doing it at home, I was actually fermenting the actual cranberries in the juice, and it's an interesting flavor. Probably something I describe as more of a cider maker's cider as opposed to a mass appeal cider. So
Okay.
one day we do that down the road. It'll be more of a specialty thing, but I just find that I like the flavor a lot better when we add it post fermentation.
Okay. And the next one that's coming June or July, if you have your own way, would
Hmm.
would that also come from a pressed, perhaps maybe like is it a stone fruit?
No,
No. Hmm.
no,
I'm so intrigued. Will it come from a pressed juice?
no.
No. No. Mm. Okay.
You'll have to wait. You'll have to wait. I'm not allowed. I've been sworn to
That's
secrecy.
okay. That's okay.
How
I like to tease you. That's okay.
No, that's okay. Our Graham's philosophy is talk about what you've done, not what you're going to do. So here
Yeah,
we are.
I know. You know what though? If I didn't like what you have done so far, I wouldn't be so excited to see it in the future. I wouldn't
Fair
be.
enough.
So yeah, no, this is this I am so um thrilled that Beth, because Bethany brought five ciders, like to our cider chat that we
Oh,
had. She brought five, and I am so thrilled. One of those was yours because it is just so refreshing, and I extend the invitation, please, to come to the cider chat too, the next one if you can, April 3rd, and
yes.
share. And yeah, share. It's just it's a Zoom chat, and we're not scary. We're like a fabulous, I said we're fabulous. They're a fabulous group of people. Everyone comes who just loves cider,
Mhm.
it's just come share your story and extend it. I'm just gonna say, based on, oh, is it beer? Someone's guessing that you're making beer,
Oh, like a beer cider
a beer
mix. Yeah,
cider.
we're not licensed to make beer yet. We are gonna make beer down the road. For anyone who's seen our can, our company name is Rice Lake Beer and Cider Co. But
Right,
that's a couple years down the road. Yeah, and that will not be me. I will not be brewing. We're gonna leave that to the experts.
but it could be hopped.
It could be.
It could be. And I didn't like it before I retried the Duxbury one, and then yeah, I had to retry. I had to give it a second try, but I didn't have to give yours a second try. So happy with it. Yeah, I'll just see if anyone has any other questions. Oh yeah, the vote right now is that it's going to be a hopped. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So
Yeah,
nice.
I see comments popping up here now. That's funny.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I had such a blast meeting you and seeing and hearing your story, and everything about your cider that I taste makes so much sense based on meeting you. You just exude love for your area and for what you do, and it comes out in my glass. It comes out on my screen here. Um, it's really, really what you do is really appreciated, is what I'm going to say. Yeah, and
Thank you.
it's really evident.
Can I ask you a question? Now, how did you
Sure.
get onto this whole journey with starting
It's
what you're doing now and promoting all this, all that you do for the Ontario side of the industry, which is fantastic, by the way. Thank you for
oh
everything you're doing. But how did you get into this? What brought
Okay,
you
so
here?
yeah, oh, absolutely. My story with cider. So what happened is, a few years ago, I was diagnosed with celiac disease. So that sort of changed what I could and could not consume. And now I was never like a beer drinker, but I liked, like the mixed, cans or and wine and everything like that. And in 2017, I walked into an LCBO and there were two cans of cider, and I had not tried it before, and there were two of the same company. One was green, one was purple. And anyone who knows what those companies are, yeah, you know what that is. And it said vegan and gluten free. And I went, oh, okay. Well, you're coming home with me. I'm going to try this. So I poured it into a glass, and I actually had never had anything that was 473 mils before in one shot. So that was a little bit of a knock, and I fell in love with the taste of it. And then I just started experimenting. Now, pre-pandemic, most of my experimenting was what I could find at the LCBO. So, or I guess that was, yeah, that was 2017. And then in 2018, my husband contacted one of the cideries that I really liked, and because I heard they were going to come out with a new flavor that I couldn't find in the LCBO. So he contacted them for my birthday, and they said, well, you can't find it because it's not on the shelves yet. So then they invited him for a tour, so he got to have the whole tour at that time. And so that was great, and what that did actually was open me up to the cider community, because I had never heard of something being that, or a community being that receptive to everybody else, I think. So I thought, well, this is great. This is not like, some other beverage places, I will say, and very welcoming. So that's how it started. And then it was like a routine thing. I'd say, what ciders can I find? I want to try them. I want to see what it's like. And then this kept going on and on. And then the pandemic hit, and when the pandemic hit, everything closed, as you know, for you as well. And my husband and I went completely to working from home full time, and we're still doing that. And I didn't want to go to the LCBO, and I didn't like the one brand that I could find online at the wine shop. So I was reaching out to different companies, and I noticed I could order online, and that was, to me, was something new, because I had never done that before. I just walked into the stores, and so I started finding more people on social media. I'm like, oh, this company is doing this delivery to Toronto area for free, or I can order from this website. And so all of a sudden, my cider scene had just blown up, and I was able to experience so many different kinds of ciders. And then literally in December, just this December, I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm drinking all these ciders and I'm enjoying them, and I'm talking about them with him, and he doesn't like cider, and he drinks gluten-free beer and Caesars, which he drinks gluten-free beer because the house has to be sealed, like, gluten-free. And Caesars, I'm not even going to even go down that road. Uh, and he was not interested in listening to me anymore. So I thought, well, I'm going to start an Instagram account, and somebody somewhere is going to find out what is going on. And then, I guess, to backtrack that as well, Ontario Craft Association had put together a cider box in October that you could
Mhm,
order. And I
mhm.
thought, well, this is cool. I'm going to order this. And it came, and I had, of course, because my experience before was limited to my LCBO and to this online forum. And I was like, where did these come from? What ciders are these? So I started reaching out, and then in the Instagram I started going on more and more. And I'm like, there are so many more cideries in Ontario than are reflected in our stores. And that's not okay with me, because I don't like the Strongbows, the Summersby. I don't want that kind of a beverage. I want something that's crafted and has integrity, and is pure, and is crisp, and is made from the heart, as opposed to mass produced.
Right.
So that's how it started. And then I just kept talking about it all the time. And, I think my family was kind of getting sick of me talking about it all the time. And then I started doing tastings. So we would do tastings and just not live. This weekend was the first time we did a live one, and luckily yours did well. But
That
it
was
was
nail
so,
biting, eh?
yeah. You know what? I can't deny it though. If I don't like it, I don't like it. And I have to be honest, and it's just me. I'm just one person. Other people will like it, and that's the whole
Sure.
joy of things, right? You like what you like, and you learn, or you get you get intrigued by what other people like, and maybe you like that too. But then it was so interesting to find out, like, what they're drinking in New Zealand, what they're drinking in the States, what they're drinking in England, what they're drinking everywhere. And then, of course, I said to my husband in February, I said, you know what? We need to have a chat. We need to have a cider chat where people who just love cider come together and we just talk about it, because the community is just so amazingly receptive, and there's no pretenses. You don't have to. There's no airs to put on. It's just, you like cider, and it's as simple as you like cider, right? It's like, it doesn't matter if you like semi-sweet or you like semi-dry or you like off-dry. It doesn't matter. It's just so community forward, I think. And then when we had the cider chat, it was like we had one gentleman from Japan, and we had someone from New Zealand, and we had someone from England, we had a lot of Ontario, and then we had someone from Duxbury. Mike came on as well, and it was great to just have that conversation and say, okay, why is this? How is this made? And what do we like? What would we like forward? And he was asking us questions, and it's just so much fun. I just love to bring awareness, because what Ontario has to offer and what Canada has to offer really is so much more than I think sometimes we give ourselves credit for. And
Hmm.
because people from other countries will send me messages saying, like, how come you have all these really cool flavors? And I'm like, well, because I'm in Ontario, like, you know, and that's kind of what it comes down to. So I love anything I can do to bring attention to things that are well, are taste well is one thing, but are community focused and are really there for the better, sort of, for the better of the community, for the better of the area, not, look what I can do quick and here you go. So
Right. That's
yeah.
awesome. Well, kudos to your husband. So the fact that he's gone gluten free and he can really maintain that free household. I have a peanut allergy and death allergic
Oh,
peanuts. So unfortunately, Graham has had to go peanut free now for a number of years, much to his chagrin.
yeah.
So it's definitely challenging. So kudos to him for doing that for you. That's awesome. But
Oh,
I want to go back actually to the green and purple cans here for a second. 'Cause
yep.
it's kind of how these stories all kind of intertwine. So I took the CINA course, the CINA cider makers course. The first year it was ever offered at Brock. That's kind of partway through the journey, early on in the journey. And at the end of the week course, we had someone in the class who had relationships with cideries in the area, and we were in St. Catharines, so we got to go and see. I'm just going to name them. Shiny Apple Cidery was
Yep.
one of the cideries we went to, and Hank is such a fantastic person. Never mind cider maker and winery owner and everything else. Just fantastic, so helpful. One of those people that like you said, community just wants to give back and help others. The day we were there actually was the day that his first truckload of purple cans showed up. So it was so neat. And you could just see the joy on his face and the excitement of, oh my goodness, I've made something. To hear the story of how that Pinot cider came to be, and then just to see him, I got to run and go see my truck of cans. It's here. I totally understand that now. So
Nice.
it's very cool. Yeah.
Well, and I was devastated when because the purple cans was my favorite, were my favorite, and I know that the rosé is the same, and I enjoy that as well. But I have a growler of their Pinot, like actual call Pinot Noir, the purple one that I'm just like not parting with yet, because I enjoyed that. But and yeah, there are so many companies that are like that. You can see their passion. Dentrunes is another one.
Mhm.
You can feel how much they love what they do, and Duxbury as well. Mike he drives the deliveries over to you. It's like
Right.
you could feel that passion. Crimson is like that too. I've gotten a lot of heartfelt feelings from them in terms of like
Mhm.
um, them doing it because they love it as well. And not to say that the other companies are not, not like that. But like you said, when you connect or when you meet the cider maker or the wine master or the brewmaster, and you can see how excited they are about like the purple can. Now, everyone loves the look of the purple can is by far to me better than the look of the rosé, but I also love purple. But that's, I mean, that's what's more exciting than that. That's amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, it's cool. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic community. And I've certainly, again, through this journey with Graham, met some brewers who are the same way, or just, open the doors and will help with anything. I would say I've experienced it even more in the cider community, which has been fantastic.
yeah. Well, even with the different like interviews or lives or postings that everyone does, it's like it's just so it, everyone just does it because they just really enjoy it. They
Right.
just it sounds so simple and so basic, but and maybe the cider industry and the cider community it should be like a better example for the entire world to maybe look at, but look how people can connect. I mean, and I said this on the weekend, and I hope it wasn't misconstrued, but there are so many things that given the grave situation the world is in and the pandemic, and I don't mean to make it to belittle anything or that anyone's going through, but the fact that we can all still connect like this is just remarkable, and it's just so phenomenal to be able to have this connection and meeting, and just like I just feel like the cider industry is just can just grow and bloom because there are so many people that are passionate about it and can and want to connect and continue going with it. It's just been a phenomenal experience. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I really do hope that, we get more and more folks into this industry, because we should be bigger than the beer guys. That's my vision. We should definitely be
Oh,
bigger than the beer.
I'm with
We
you
got
on
some
that.
catching up, some catching up to do, but we're getting there.
I'm with you on that. I know. And you know what? And there should be. And if we talk about like the stores if we talk about the shelf space in the LCBO, there's one girl that sent me a picture of one LCBO in Toronto that had actually like, I think it was maybe the two coolers, maybe two doors of ciders. But I mean, that's not the case here at all. Like, and I
No,
live in
I live in a small town just south of Peterborough, and so we have probably what's deemed a D store, so like the smallest of the small It's a true LCBO store, but over the winter they've done a SKU optimization, they call it, and we're down to three ciders. What? How do we
wow,
have three ciders? Like
three.
people are drinking my cider. There's clearly an appetite for it. So come on, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I don't know where they get the data some days to make these choices, but they've gotta broaden that category for sure.
Yes, I'm with you on that. And then the other ones that are just carrying one brand, that's not yeah, that's that's there are just so many opportunities to for us, or there should be so many opportunities for us as consumers to have to experience the ciders, and sure, people, they might not want to buy as many online, and so to going to, I mean, because the Loblaws, the Walmart superstores, the grocery stores that sell them, if you can buy one can, but if it's always the same kind, then you're not experiencing the craftsmanship of Ontario ciders that I've come to enjoy very much. But
Right.
yeah, yeah, great. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, thank you, and I really hope you can come to the Cider Chat on April 3rd, because I would love for other people to hear more about you and your story, and maybe they have some questions for you as well. And I cannot wait to for June or July. Yeah, and I can't wait to get or I'm gonna order unless I come there in person one day, when the weather's nicer, and see Rice Lake, because you also make us, no, for me personally, want to go there. I've never been to Rice Lake,
Oh,
but you make it sound so heartwarming that, well, of course I want to go there, and I want to wear my campfire hoodie, and I want to put my cranberry cider in my pocket and have my doggy bag so Poe can just be free. Like this is completely what I want to do now. I just want to just sit there and enjoy. So
That's
that's
awesome. Yeah, there is so much to do in this area, from fishing to boating to just even just the scenery. We're the drumlin capital of Ontario, so the rolling hills and all around the lake is it's amazing. There's so much to do and so much good food, so much good local food, and there's about 8 or 9 breweries in the area, so there's lots to do and see.
wonderful. Well, I look forward to coming in the summer to pay a visit.
Perfect.
I look forward to that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Kasha. I
you.
really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Anytime. And I'll see you soon. I'll send you the link for the one on April 3rd. So thank you so much.
Great.
Yeah, everyone saying thank you. So thank
All
you
right.
everyone for watching. Yeah, and go
Thank
order
you,
Rice
buddy.
Lake. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank
Thanks so much.
you.
Bye. Cheers.